Anyway,
Right,
so
okay.
the historic commission has a question on what if one of the people doesn't want to go over, and in replacing at some point, is it always just going to be that board, or can they bring other people in from the outside?
So I think theoretically, you could have different people serve on each board. If you say there were 2 more people who serve on the Historic District Commission that didn't want to serve on the Historical Commission,
Yeah.
sure, it would be a matter of, okay, essentially having 2 back-to-back meetings one night. So
Right.
from 5:30 to 6:30 is the Historical Commission's meeting, and then 6:30 to 7:30 would be the Historic District Commission. And so their appointees would be staggered. So just like anything else, they wouldn't all, like your tenure, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean? Term,
Yeah.
wouldn't be the same for both, because you're right, they are already people serving on the Historical Commission. And then say if they wanted to, they'd be appointed for, say, a 2-year term for the Historic District Commission, their Historical Commission term might expire sooner. So there would be some juggling between that. I think the idea is, though, that there's probably a lot of overlap between people who would serve on both, and the requirements are very similar, that it seems the most likely.
And apparently towns and cities do things differently.
Yes.
Some of them, because there's enforcement involved. Sometimes the Historic Commission gets rid of all the enforcement and puts it over to the Historic District people, in other words, on demolition delay bylaw, moving that over.
But we're not doing
Or
that.
sometimes everything goes the other way.
And we
And it's
can't do that here, because the Historical Commission's demo delay bylaw, any alteration to that bylaw would require vote at town meeting. So we
there
are
you go.
not touching that bylaw. Yeah, this is a completely separate bylaw, which is why the Historical Commission will retain all of their rights and responsibilities.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so it
Sounds
might be a
good.
little bit different. I don't actually know if there is an example in the state. Honestly, I feel like Michael Steinitz at Massachusetts would be the best person to know the answer to that. But if he's the one asking the question, obviously not. Then that if the same people serve on both commissions in places, but it certainly exists that the Historical Commission in a town takes on the duties of the Historic District Commission. That definitely happens in other towns.
Yeah.
Or they might be completely separate and completely separate commissions. If it's a very big city, for instance,
Yeah,
they're often
right.
very big. Sometimes it's the Historical Society that takes on the duties of the Historic District Commission. It depends.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Enabling legislature gives a little bit of room for interpretation.
Yeah, I went and did a little research because the Historic Commission had a lot of questions about
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
was
rightly
not-
so.
Yeah, well, I got a great book from Mass Historical, I should have brought that.
Okay.
With examples of all these different odd things that might happen. I'll bring that, I'm not gonna scan it, it's too thick. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that deals with the 2 presentations we've got to do, right?
Yes,
And
correct.
we're all set, who's doing what, and we
Yeah,
will
you and I can get together,
We will
we'll get a copy, just look at it if you
review
wanna get
the
together.
PowerPoint, yeah.
Yeah.
Taking
And that'll
the
be
latest one,
planning
which
committee
you've
will
got
be
on
right
your
around.
site.
Correct.
Okay. Right.
Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you still only had Dropbox access to one folder, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put it in that folder.
Yep.
Just so it's available.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Good.
Right now, so I don't forget.
Okay, yes. Are we okay for the next?
Okay, it's all there.
Study report update.
So
Thank you for that.
At this point, we've all had a chance to look at the report, correct?
It's good, a bit of editing work.
I dropped your picture of the people playing on the lower green. And then did you take some
No,
pictures
yeah.
as well? Yeah, so I dropped one of yours
You
in
did.
too.
I was,
Yeah.
I think I uploaded those, but I could not.
You
remember. I
called
didn't
them
put
all
in.
Seton Tavern.
Yes,
So,
because I was there for it was other work. So that's why I was there. But yeah, I figured while I was there with my camera, I might as well take some
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
got
some modern ones.
Well, I think I got a good one of kind of Seton Tavern from the lower green with the modern building house behind
did.
it. to
Oh, I
kind
saw
of
that,
show
yeah.
You did.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying.
Yeah.
I will admit that I have kind of dropped the ball here. I have only read through half the report at this moment.
Well, it's very good. It's a
It's
good
good.
read.
It is.
I think
It
it's
is.
very good.
I have 3
Yeah.
comments, I'm about halfway through, and that's all I had was 3.
Right.
Okay, I will say, yes, I haven't altered too much. I did kind of rework a couple of things, but mainly when I'm reading through, I'm trying to just make it sound like it's from one voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Which-
consolidating
which is
grammar,
good.
making sure we all use the same words or capitalize the same words for certain things, that kind of thing. So
Right.
that's, mundane work, but it sounds, it's looking really good. I'm
Yeah.
making sure.
I think it's really
I
good,
think it is.
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it is. Good
I think
job
it's really
all
good.
round.
I've
and-
just been.
So with the pictures of the houses, I have made them all black and white.
Yes.
But I
Good
do
idea.
like well, I have an antique one of the Seton Tavern. Is it Seton or Seddon?
Seddon.
Seven.
Seddon, okay. I have an antique one of the Seddon Tavern, that one.
That's Jack.
Oh, that's it,
Before it
Jack
moved?
Miller.
Was that the one before it moved?
Where
Or
is
still on the
it?
road?
This is it.
There, yes.
That's it. So, shall I substitute a color one for that? This one.
Yeah.
So your color, because this one's ancient and it does not show the building behind it, which I like. I
do
like
too.
that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like
It's like, this is
cheek
why.
to jowl,
Yeah.
you know?
This is a reason why we're,
And
yeah.
because this building behind it isn't,
no longer
the
there.
building.
That is not there anymore.
Right.
There's also an addition off the back of Seddon now, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think let's
Drop it
substitute
in, and
somewhere.
even though it's colored, it doesn't matter.
No, because it will be printed black
Okay.
and white if it gets
Yeah.
really black and
Oh,
white.
that's right.
There's no reason
What
why
am
we
I
can't put
thinking
color
of?
Put color in there,
Yeah.
but it'll.
No,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
So, did you change yours? Because yours was, okay, so I must have done something, so I made yours black and white. But you're right, it's gonna be printed black and white.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
But we could put, for online, it'd be nice to have the color pictures in there.
Okay. I just tried to take old photographs to show a historic perspective, but
Mhm.
I saw that one with the building in the back, and I thought, ooh,
Yeah.
very nice.
also the layout's good. I like.
I tried to line them up.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
right. And quite
Yeah,
frankly,
like
it
this
doesn't
one.
matter if they're different sizes to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's,
Is that the one you took?
Yeah, I'm thinking
Oh,
it's
that's
one like
nice.
that, yeah.
yeah,
I
What?
didn't see that one.
Did you?
One like that one.
yes.
Oh, I was
It also
thinking,
shows the juxtaposition.
I saw the one with the house behind it.
I was thinking
Yeah.
that one, that's
That
the
one.
one that I was gonna choose.
I like that one, yes.
It's a-
But it's a little bit confusing
Yeah,
because
that one I remember.
it may look like that building in the back is connected to.
So what I would suggest is this one doesn't actually show Seddon very well. You can't see the
Right,
door,
right,
there's
yeah.
the street.
Right,
So
right.
this one might go maybe in the digital images at the back,
Yeah.
as an example of
Okay,
modern enforcement,
okay,
and we
good.
keep maybe the antique one
Yeah.
for Seddon Tavern,
Yeah.
where it is.
Which the one you?
Okay.
Sound good? Yeah, I took this
The
one a
other
couple
one.
weeks ago.
Oh, I see, that's it, that, I didn't see that, you can see the house in that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's a
that
different
was my
house.
idea. No, same house, same house.
No, that's the,
This is Seddon Tavern, so.
no, I
The
meant,
one behind.
Yeah,
this,
that-
is
that-
that the house that was on
No,
the
yeah,
other side?
Yeah,
that's-
Yeah, it is.
Same house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one with the cupola is just the
The bar.
garage.
The garage, yeah.
Oh.
garage
Same
of
house.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's a big house.
It is.
It
It
stretches.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. It's,
And these have grown up, these arborvitae or whatever they
Yeah.
are, have grown up really fast, which is really good, but, yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
German.
There'll be a-
Yeah.
There'll be a screen there.
Yep.
But yes, it's
Okay.
really close. I couldn't take one from behind the Seddon because, yeah, you're too close to like looking at
And
the
I knew
house.
that they were you because I saw the Ellie Mobile there.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
I was there. I saw
I
some
like that.
people at
Yeah.
Robin's house. I was like, I should go knock on the door. You had some work going on, but when I was there.
There is also a good one of the Lower Green from the corner of where the Seddon Tavern is, looking down, and I put that one in. That was a good one, because that shows the, southeastern facing view. Yeah, and that was a good one.
Cool, thank you. So I am endeavoring to have that done by the end of the week, just continue to do that, but it is looking really good, it's sounding really good, and
Yeah,
just to
I
slide in
think-
some things.
I like, it's
Apologies about
reading.
that.
I think it's the consistency of the reading is good.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is,
let's put it on
which
Amazon.
is,
So I capitalized Indigenous everywhere.
Yep. I think
Okay,
that's-
all
that's a
right,
good
when
idea.
you were talking
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
capitalization or
Well,
whatever,
there's some things like study committee,
yeah.
whether need to always capitalize it or never capitalize it, so it's certain things like that is we're always referring to ourselves as the same
Yeah, yeah,
word.
consistency, yeah.
So it's that kind of stuff.
Okay,
Well, the study committee, those two words is representative of the Lower Green Local Historic District Study Committee.
Correct, so beginning of the
Those stuff.
report, I put it in
Yeah.
parentheses, knowing that that's our,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it's, and the history has been nicely condensed out from the earlier renditions. Still quite a lot.
but, you know, I mean, we
Consistent.
did this ourselves instead of paying a grant writer to do it.
Well, yes.
So I
yeah.
think it came out pretty
And
well.
relative to the other reports we've seen, there's actually been a lot more going on in our district than in some of the others that I've read.
Because
In
it would
terms of-
be
well,
a
it's lot-
third party looking in,
Yeah,
whereas we are looking out, you know,
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
in the district.
but also ours from the previous reports, the ones I showed you example of, is we're like 100 years older, so we've actually
Oh,
got
yes,
more
right,
history to,
right,
as well.
right,
In
right.
terms of the periods,
Right.
which I think is very good, the start point being even prior to the European settlers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think that's pretty good. I think we should go with it unless there are any corrections that someone spots on punctuation or sort of capitals and all that. But I think we,
Yeah,
Done,
I think
right.
at this point, it's waiting,
It's-
let's wait to present to select and planning board, see if there's any major changes to the
Right.
exhibits from them, and then we PDF
Yeah.
and finalize it.
yeah.
So why haven't the tables and things been dropped in yet?
Because because it's still a Word document, it's not possible to do that until it's a PDF.
Ah.
Because of the way the it's their Excel files and they won't translate.
Oh, okay, all
It's-
right.
I'd like to, yeah, and then
Okay.
two, that's me. So, just wait until it's PDF, just to add those as a separate.
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely,
That's-
that's, yeah.
Right, Bill, fine, because then it's then the next steps being handing over to Maths Historic Commission.
Yeah, and we're still waiting, I guess, now just to present to the select board,
Board.
right, so end of this month.
So we can do it
Has been out of our
straight
control.
after May.
Yeah, unless they have some,
No,
big questions or
unless
stuff,
Q&A.
which we should, then in that case,
No,
we should
you know
probably.
what, we ought to have our next meeting
Precisely, right after
after that,
Mhm.
so that any Q&A that comes from
Yeah,
the select board,
Oh,
we can determine and then,
and because we technically need to officially approve the report, I think, before we send it off, we should probably do that officially.
good point. Okay, well, we'll make sure that is.
I have a question on the prior item. So is it only the historical commission members that will be part of the Lower Green Local Historic District
The
Committee?
Historic District Commission,
yeah.
so there's an HC
HC.
and HDC.
Right,
Yeah.
they'll have
So-
to set
Historic
up-
Commission.
So
and
can
Historic
anyone else
District
be-
Commission.
Yes.
Part
So,
of-
so as it stands, yes, and in fact, a historic district commission in the bylaw would have separate requirements for inclusion for its committee. And for instance, someone from the district would have to serve on the committee. Now, if there's no one who wants to, no one who's available, that can,
Yeah.
you don't have, like, it won't dissolve or anything, but it's a way of like, this is the first step. You want to go out to owners and say, we would like someone to serve. And then, so there's a couple, that's a little bit different from the historical commission, and that is per the guidelines in chapter 40C, so that's a state mandate. So most of the committee, and to Lon's point, if someone on the committee, on the commission is HC, the historical commission doesn't want to serve on the HDC, they don't have to. But it's, the idea is to combine the majority of those.
Okay, the majority.
Serving, yeah,
Okay,
just for
okay.
ease of,
Okay.
But it's
essentially
not
to
compulsory.
allow that to happen.
But it's not compulsory.
No, it's not
So
compulsory.
that's the, was that your question, whether
That
it's
was my
compulsory.
question, yeah,
no,
no,
I mean,
sorry about that.
None of them
No, no.
are compulsory, yeah, it's the idea that
It's
they
a little
can.
delayed reaction.
Yeah, yeah.
It's, one of the reasons this came up, I don't know if did I send you the email that I got back from Mass Historical when I asked the question about populating the district commission? I can't remember if I did, I should have, but I did.
I don't remember seeing anything.
Yeah. One of the reasons I asked about bringing people in from the outside is if you bring people in from the outside, you can fill those two criteria. Remember, you're supposed to go getting one is architect and the other, I can't remember what the other
Real
one was.
estate.
Yeah, oh, yeah, right. You could go out and try to fill those outside positions with that if you wanted to. The biggest problem Mass Historical seem to have is that we just assumed that we could just pick up the Historic Commission and drop it in the District Commission.
So it might be-
Because of the criteria for selection.
Yeah, no,
But that's why you said if you're planning to do it, write it into your bylaw.
the criteria might actually be, I mean, the criteria are separate. It's been a while since I've reread the bylaw language that I wrote, but it might not, it might just be assumed in there, it might actually not be said in there that. So it's fair, it's good to state that in just, were this to pass, were this to be enacted next year, the Historical Commission wouldn't automatically become the HDC. The select board would have to approve.
They have to approve,
right? They'd have to be
right.
appointed. And so in that case, it doesn't really matter. I think it's a good point that I've been operating under the assumption that the Historical Commission's members would be willing and interested
And it
in
was
serving
unanimous,
on
everybody said
HDC.
yes.
And I kind of assume that, but looking forward, in
Yeah, looking
perpetuity,
forward.
you don't necessarily
That's
want
what
to
I
assume
was
that.
thinking, is looking
So-
forward.
It's more of saying maybe scrap that language altogether and have it be a talking point among the boards of saying, those who want to serve, and if you're on the HC, you can serve on the HTC, and maybe then the commissions schedule it so that they are abutting meetings, but they're still completely separate meetings and just happen to have the same
So-
people on it, so that they don't interfere with one another. Maybe that's
And
worth.
that's the way the Historic Commission wants to run it. They want to basically adjourn
Oh, and it would
our
have to
meeting
be.
and
It
then
would-
call the meeting.
It would
Because
have
their
to.
agenda
Yeah.
would be
Because the
separate.
agendas would be separate, because the
Yeah.
responsibilities would be
Right.
separate, because the reviews would be separate, so they would have to be completely separate. And
Yeah.
that's the idea, is what we were, now it's a good point, we don't have, they could be completely different people, they could be completely different days that they're being held, there's no reason why they have to be. I think we've just been trying to make it easier for Newbury to fill that. And so, yeah, okay, I'll reread the bylaw and see if there's anything in there that indicates that we're assuming that they're the same.
I'm
Yeah,
writing myself a
Yeah.
note to send you that letter, the email
That would be
that I
good.
got, because you can see what his questions were.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
yeah, because
I'll
that
send it
was
to
just
them.
a
You have to
sticking
send it,
point,
yeah.
because
No, it's a point.
say, someone leaves the Historical Commission and a new person comes on, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, or
You know,
don't
I
qualify, or they
live
don't.
someplace else and I
Yeah.
don't,
But they still probably have to be quorum, don't they? So they can't.
there has to be a quorum.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they would have to make sure that if not all of them want to stand in the secondary thing.
They would have to have other people.
Well,
Well, that's
That's
why I
up
think
to
maybe
them
there's two
to
separate
do.
commissions, and it's
If
just
they-
people who happen to serve on
Yeah.
both.
but what I was thinking was, if that were to occur, the bylaw could have a provision in it that says, if we go from the outside, we try to fill any open slots, those two things that where they want you to
Well, no, because those you have to have in there, those are statutory, we don't have a choice, you don't have a choice about that. Those two extra, those requirements are mandatory per legal guidance.
well, no,
They
they have to
be
make
in
an
there.
effort to fill those.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
already in there,
Yeah,
that's in there.
right.
My point is, I don't like the idea of adding anything in there that is then assuming that historic district commissioners are serving on the historical commission. I think I
Yes.
like it that we, as talking points among the select board, among the planning board at town meeting, can say to the historical commission, you can say, this is something we would love for you to serve as, but it is not compulsory, and we are not assuming that all future historic district commissioners are from the historical commission, so I'm not, like, keeping that out of the bylaw.
Okay.
Because you have, like, the requirements for both the historical commission as it stands and the historic district commission as proposed are similar but not identical.
Okay,
So they have to be separate,
yes.
also because we're not altering the bylaws that exist currently.
Right.
And so those statutory are like, you have to try and recruit from, you know, a realtor, architect, a historical preservationist, whatever, is already in there. That, we don't have a choice about that. So that's covered,
Yeah.
yeah. And then if you happen to also, and you have to have someone from the district.
Yes.
Or you
Right.
have to do your best to have someone serve who lives in the district. Yeah,
I think
Okay,
the
thank you.
board, the select board, didn't they have to appoint?
they do. Select board has to appoint.
Yes, the
Yeah.
select board for the commission.
Yeah. And so that way it's, you know, terms are staggered and et cetera, et cetera. It's, okay, I like this. So essentially they're just two completely different ones that just, but it's okay to serve on two committees, right? Like that's, that is also acceptable in town, so. Okay,
I'll send everybody that
Thank you.
email that I got.
And the email just states the person from Mass Historical questions that they
Right,
have?
yeah.
Okay.
I asked questions on, do you have an example? And here's what we were thinking of doing, and he came back, oh, wait a minute, it's not just that easy. You just don't make them, pick them up and move over here. There are these set of rules that have to be followed, which we.
And then
understood.
did he have subsequent questions for us?
Well, it wasn't, I was representing the Historic Commission.
Okay.
okay, I was like,
So he
so
does-
he didn't see our bylaw,
I
for
think it's
instance.
seven as well.
You didn't send him the bylaw?
No, I
Okay,
didn't send him
okay.
anything we're doing, no.
Cool.
7 members?
How many members do you have on the?
How many members are on the Historical Commission?
I think, hang on.
Is it committee
I think
or
there's six.
commission? It's commission?
I think there's 6 right now.
That should be
I
maybe.
think 7 is the
I
max.
thought it was,
maybe
they're not the same number.
No.
And no, they're not the same number.
No.
I thought it was 5 on HC.
This one
seven
is
HC.
This one says
7.
Yeah, you don't
That's a
have to
lot.
have 7.
Hang on a second.
It's
So
7 is-
what is a quorum for? With 7?
Well, it depends on how many you're actually
Oh,
serving.
there might be 7 of us.
But if it's written 7 and you can't get 7, where does that leave?
It's however many you can fill.
Up to 4 alternate.
You have to have at least 3 because you gotta fill the offices, the positions. But I wasn't.
The
set
historical
max.
commission has 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be max, but you don't have to have that many.
No.
It's like under due diligence to fill up to that many from these groups of people.
Okay.
And then as many others as want that fill the 7, but like we could, I think our enabling legislature also has 7 for a local historic district commission
Okay.
study committee. We've never had 7,
Yeah.
Okay.
right? And that's okay, but we have 5, so quorum is 3.
We barely have 4.
Yeah.
So, but it's not, the study committee is not dealing with the appointments. or
Right,
whatever,
right, right.
so-
Right.
Okay.
Sorry about that
No,
aside.
right,
No, that's very good to
Fine,
yeah, think about.
to clarify. Right. Okay.
Next steps, additional business.
I can read upside down.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Karnak the Magnificent, remember that? Johnny Carson, Karnak.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Magnificent.
Karnak.
Right. Okay, any more things on the next steps issue?
Well, what about the tax bill?
The what?
So for next year, so I got my tax bill for May in March.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So
So-
by the January, they probably start to.
yeah,
Yeah, we want to do it as close to the town meeting as possible.
right.
Yeah, but is there gonna be one this fall that we might slip into?
Or why not next
Why
March
not
is-
next March?
Or we could just do March.
Yeah.
Because we, want it as close as possible so
Yeah.
that people say, oh, yeah,
Right, that's what I meant.
yeah.
Yeah, to-
So we would, if we, so if that's true, then we'd be, when be in the March mailing
Right.
next year,
Right.
unless we want to put it up.
We
for
could
the
be in
fall.
both, but
Wow.
I think that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they send it out in March, the tax.
I got mine in March. When
Yeah,
did you
I
get
think so. I
yours?
think I
Yeah.
did, yeah.
And there's a bunch of stuff in that too.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, there's the dog license,
license.
the parking permit,
Yeah,
yeah.
Shouldn't be that hard to get something
no,
in there.
right.
The,
And the other
we
thing,
needed to see what the cost would be, whether that was possible. I think, Lon, that was
I
to you.
didn't check, but
You
Yeah.
did or did not?
I did not.
Did not, okay.
okay, if you can do that. In terms of getting information out, did we discover whether there was a Newbury Town Day?
I did ask, so I asked,
Because it's not on, I couldn't see it
it's
on.
not
the
on
I
mine
website.
yet.
haven't seen it.
so there will be a Newbury Town Day from what I've been able to find out, but I don't know if a date has yet been determined. I do know, because, Stuart Mainland
Jeez.
has been involved in the past, that it will not be based at Spencer Pierce Little. So the farm, I know in the past, like, that has been a main
Yeah,
hub of it.
Mm.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I think the town's going to have it centered somewhere else. So we've been offered to have a table at SPL if we would like, but understanding that is not going to be the center of it.
It'll probably be the upper green.
Upper Green, okay.
Yeah, probably. No, I'm just saying probably because the lower green tends to be overlooked.
Aw.
Not anymore. Right,
Yeah,
we'll,
Not anymore.
we'll
Where would
find,
you park?
Where's our flag?
we'll find.
So I think like we just have to keep our ear to the ground.
We've also had a few minutes.
Or maybe
But,
Bill
uh,
and I'll set tomorrow at town
I'll
meeting.
ask
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a lot of asphalt.
I've got to see her on something else, so I'll smell that.
Okay.
Newbury
All right,
Town Day,
so we should-
put that in the minutes to be checked on, or to be, remind ourselves.
Did they move the trailer off the lower green yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Are they going to put it back in it's not in good nick.
I don't know. I can see I mean, because they were doing a lot of work over
Yeah,
there. I
yeah.
can see why they didn't put it up. Wherever it was being stored, it could have been nice if it had stayed there until they had a place to put it. But did you see how much use that the lower green is getting this year?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
The,
wonderful.
soccer's.
Yeah, so Robin took a picture and I dropped that in, as current, school children,
Yeah.
currently
It's
using
in the-
April.
Right, it's in the
Yeah, I
text.
put, photo courtesy, R. Etheridge.
It's because the practice greens they were using or designated to use are not available for the whole season. Apparently they've ripped up the soil.
Well, they've done it for a couple of years now because I know there is a resident of Cottage Road and he was a soccer coach
Yeah.
and they didn't have a playing field, so he suggested going to the lower green, and then that kind of took off, and this year there's, there's a lot of use, it's nice. Oh, bless you. There's a lot of, there's a lot of use, because it's, oh, bless you.
Pardon me.
How large is the lower green? Is it 5 acres?
What?
No,
No, I don't think it could be that much.
no, a couple, maybe 2.5.
So we should find out, right?
I
Yes,
can figure
that's
that
fair.
out
That's a good point.
imminently.
That wasn't in the report
All
either.
right.
I think
No.
I did, because I was trying to work out how big the whole historic district encompasses, and I reckon 60 acres.
I think you were right, actually. I think that is at the front of the report
Was
though,
it?
because you had
I did,
said it,
yeah.
and then I tallied it and you were dead on.
Yeah, I just added up all the acreages of all the plots.
Yeah, I'm guessing about 2.5. just
So
by
that is probably,
Eyeball.
well,
It
ours
seems-
is 2.7, so number 14, ours is exactly 2.7, and this is bigger, slightly. I'd say 3.
It's 3.1.
3.1.
There you go.
go.
Nice. You've got a talent there.
So, spatial awareness. Right, okay, so, Yes, okay, so that's good.
Shall I drop that in someplace?
What?
The
That
acreage
the
of Lower
acreage?
Green.
Yeah.
Lower Green?
Yeah, even
You
just
know,
like in
maybe in the
beginning.
schoolhouse
Yeah,
or,
like 3 for 1
Yeah.
acre
Yeah.
lot, or 3
Yeah.
for 1 acre.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay.
Definitely,
Gives-
please.
Right,
And
because there's
also-
nothing that gives any idea of the scale.
No,
size, is
yeah,
there?
yeah. Also, I was watching a really good documentary on early stone walls that have been attributed to the, early colonists, when actually they're indigenous
Really?
stone walls.
Oh.
And, and that the indigenous people around this area practiced controlled burning. And when Mary and John, is that the name of
Yeah, the boat.
Mary and John, the boat,
Yeah.
when they came, they found all of these, open pastures and things. And I believe that the green was an open pasture.
Hmm.
And that was, part of the,
So they burnt and they
yeah, yeah.
kept.
But yeah, yeah, it's, yeah. But I don't know if I add that, like, see, no,
Yeah, it's such a speculation thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
And it
unless
doesn't
we
really
can
matter.
tell any of these stone walls are
Right.
it's kind of.
Yes.
right. But, I saw a documentary on that, and that early, not only early settlers, early colonists from this area, but all through Massachusetts found these, wonderful fields. Wow, these are great, bordered by stone walls, and it was
I wonder
because,
who could possibly.
yes, oh,
Fairies could.
the Lord provided.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
interesting,
good.
yeah.
It would be something if we wanted to add something like that into the report, it would be in the indigenous section, it would be something to the effect, I think there's a sentence in there that the indigenous people fish, farm,
Yes, I was going to put it in.
Yeah, something like, not about the stone walls specifically,
But-
but that they're another impact upon the land is.
Okay.
Because we know they did that.
I thought about that, but I wanted to bring it up.
I think that would be,
But, if people were asking for sources, would I cite a documentary, or just put it in as kind of a common
I was gonna
knowledge
say,
thing?
it's kind of, I think
It's
that
got
way, it's kind
planted
of common
crops,
knowledge.
so it's.
Right, I was going to put in,
Right there, like.
practice, yeah, okay, all right, I'll put it in.
Yeah, thank you, I think that's great. A little more detail.
Yeah, so a sentence just saying, may have practiced in stone wall enclosures.
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Or enclosures.
I think about
I'm not
adding,
gonna say
adding
that.
about the stone walls
Yeah.
is too speculative.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd be interested to know though, like if their method of stone wall creation was different than colonists, if there's a way to tell who
So
built
the
what.
documentary that I saw was, it showed several examples, like in, kind of outside of Boston, where there were snake shapes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that they were,
Makes sense for fire too,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting, yeah.
What's the documentary?
I found it on YouTube, but I can send you guys the
Yeah,
link,
can you-
and
yeah,
yeah,
just
it's
curious,
very
just for
interesting.
Education.
Yeah,
Okay, right. Right.
Any more next steps?
Anything else on the,
There was an additional business from last time. The Sons and
Which-
Daughters Chair was wanting an update at their next quarterly
yes,
meeting.
he has not come back to me.
Okay.
I have offered that you and I, or any
Yeah.
others, will go and present to him and his committee or whatever. I'm not quite sure. He has not come back. I'll send a reminder.
Okay.
And as far as he did not. I sent him a copy of the
Jackson.
transcript of the Jackson Willett House and what we were going to say, and he commented that it's a fair thing, and we actually didn't approve it, but then it's not up to him to approve. I was doing it out of a courtesy
yeah, just a
to
courtesy,
him, and
yeah.
he
heads
said
up.
fine, and he he had some questions relating to the, what the bylaws might, the effect the bylaws might have on a property such as
Sure.
that, to which, that, it was just very question, so, and that's when I said we'll get together and do a presentation. So I think it was more information, he wanted more, information about it. He's also a new chairman of the Sons and Daughters.
What is his name?
I can't remember. I've got this now. And I'll get back to you. I have sent him a reminder, but thank you. Put that one forward. We'll carry forward on it. Okay, was there anything else?
No, that was all from the minutes. Anything else on the agenda? No. Anyone else have additional business?
I do not. Do you have any additional business?
No, we do it.
No.
All right.
And I guess there'll be no public comments today either.
Oh, I think that's correct.
So-
So to assume
So the next meeting should be
after May 27th.
after May 27th. I haven't got.
So we're looking at the beginning of June.
Do you have a date? We're looking.
We're looking, I'm just, hanging out.
So
May 27th.
That-
Select board is Tuesday, so
yeah, that following Monday is June 2nd.
yes.
Looking at the town calendar, there is a recreation committee at 6:30, so we could meet 5:30 to 6:30. It does not give me a place where they're meeting, so I'm not sure if it's online or in person.
June the 2nd is good for me.
June 2nd, 5:30. 6:30.
Good. June 2nd then.
Doesn't say on the agenda. It's really weird. Recreation committee. I'm just gonna try and figure out where they're meeting. Oh,
Okay.
they meet here. Okay, so at least their last agenda has them meeting here. Okay, so we'd have to be out by 6:30.
Right, but, hopefully we should.
Hopefully we should be. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, right, proposal for conclusion of meeting.
Seconded?
All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good.